But first, we start with late breaking news still developing right now here on the WHAS 1119 as we come on the air. Hello, everybody, and thanks for joining us. I'm Doug Prophet. The hostages held by Hamas could be released possibly on Monday. That's the word from President Donald Trump tonight, as he may fly to Egypt this weekend as part of a peace deal in the making. The war may be getting closer to ending. Now, here's what's happened since we were last with you at 6 o'clock. The president says Israel and Hamas had both signed off on the first phase of a peace plan in Gaza. President Trump says the hostages taken last October 7th are, quote, deep in the earth, and we think they'll all be coming back on Monday, end quote. The release includes the bodies of those who have died, which President Trump said is believed to be at 28. Also new at 11 o'clock tonight, the Oldham County School Board voting no to a partnership with a religious organization. The decision comes after a months-long divide in the community. The Oldham School Board says their no vote had nothing to do with religion. WHAS 1119's Alex Dieterer and photojournalist Aspen Hester have both sides to this debate.
The Oldham County Public School District will not be allowed to implement off-campus religious programs during school hours. A unanimous decision by the school board.
All those in favor? And that's 5-0.
The board was considering a partnership with religious organization LifeWise, which would allow students to be excused from school for up to 1 hour a week to attend a program off campus, made legal through Kentucky Senate Bill 19.
God has a good plan, though. I trust him.
Cassie Alchorn with LifeWise says they're disappointed in the board's decision.
LifeWise is working well in many schools. I think at this point there's probably about 1,000 that it's working well. And
LifeWise supporters showed up to the board meeting in red, while those opposed were black.
And were you surprised by a 5-0 vote by the board?
Yes, honestly, I really was. Not surprised in the way that I really did think a lot of the board members would really want to protect our staff and our students and our teachers.
Many of the opposition were members of Kentucky Citizens for Democracy, including Tara LeBlanc.
But I feel really strongly that public schools should be places that are inclusive for all children, not just children that have one very narrow belief, not during school time.
After 30 minutes of debate, the board voted down the partnership.
The most common reservation among Oldham County School Board members was the logistics surrounding the program.
I like LifeWise. I think that the program that they're offering sounds wonderful. It's not that. To me, it is more about protecting our staff. We as a board have spent a massive amount of time and money on teacher raises, staff raises, and to ask them to take on more, in my opinion, it goes against all of what we've been working for the last 3 years.
I do understand the logistical concern with checking kids in and out, but I think that we could make it very smooth. The way that we take attendance and the things that we do to make that smooth.
The board also cited the overwhelming opposition from both schools in the district and community members. In LaGrange, Alex Dieterer, the WHAS 1119 on your side.
Well, this topic's been so controversial. Alex, I wanted you to come out here and answer a couple of questions about it. I was curious, can students still leave school, though, for religious purposes, for any kind of programs?
Right, so Doug, parents have the legal right to choose if their students do attend what they're calling moral instruction or religious programs. That is a parent's legal right. And under law, every student who is excused from school, they do have an excused absence for religious holidays and religious practices. So what was decided tonight basically is just saying that there's not going to be a partnership between the Oldham County Public School District and a religious organization. So that's where the line is drawn now.
You had some big vocal voices in here. At one point, it seemed like this had a possibility of even passing, but again, it goes down in defeat. How large was the opposition as this grew?
Right, so we heard from chair of the school board tonight, Carly Clem, and she basically said, she goes, I would have been in support of this decision if I heard from any schools that they did support the decision. She goes, but I didn't hear that. So there was no support from, there was a little bit of support from one of the board members, but at the end of the day, unanimous vote, 5-0 to vote against the partnership between LifeWise and the Oldham County School District.
All right, Alex, thank you very much covering the big vote in Oldham County tonight. More of our top stories new tonight. He's heading to prison tomorrow, but at last check moments ago in our newsroom, his destination has not yet been disclosed. This week, a federal judge denied former Metro Police Detective Brett Hankison's request to remain out of prison while he was awaiting the appeals process. He must report to prison tomorrow to begin his federal sentence for his role in the night Breonna Taylor was shot and killed by Louisville Metro Police. Hankison was found guilty of violating Taylor's civil rights during that police raid in March of 2020. A judge sentenced him to 33 months back in July, but his attorneys have been appealing that sentence ever since.
So help me God. So help me God. Congratulations.
Kentucky State Senator David Yates of Louisville being sworn in today there at the rotunda of Metro Hall is the interim Jefferson County clerk. Now, to do that job, he had to resign his Kentucky State Senate seat. The governor's office confirms to us that they got his resignation letter this morning. The governor will next have to call a special election to fill Yates' state Senate seat for the remainder of his term in Frankfort, January of 2029. No word yet on when that special election will be set. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear also set to attend a major fundraising event for the Democratic Party alongside former President Joe Biden. The announcement coming down earlier today that the Nebraska Democratic Party says they'll both be hosting both men, Beshear and Biden, at the 2025 Ben Nelson Annual Gala. Now, that event will be taking place next month, Friday, November 7th in Omaha, Nebraska. Facing the daunting task of reducing spending by $132 million by next fall. Today, JCPS Superintendent Brian Yearwood says the district won't touch your local tax rates until it gets its massive budget deficit down to zero. Well, Yearwood appeared at Vincenzo's downtown for the Louisville Forum event. He discussed his plans for JCPS's future. He said today that it will be fixed. He also said that top Kentucky Republican Jason Nemes of Middletown has also promised him a grace period. Nemes has wanted to break up JCPS into smaller districts. Today, we asked Nemes for comment.
We're going to give him a little bit of space to do what needs to be done, and I'm hopeful that he does. If he doesn't, then we're going to have to right-size JCPS, and I've got the votes to do it, and we'll get it done.
We will fix this. We'll do it responsibly, with great transparency, and without asking taxpayers for more before we balance our own budget.
A reminder, the superintendent says the district must cut $132 million from next year's school budget. This is the problem he, of course, inherited. His budget proposal is due in January. Also today at the Louisville Forum, Yearwood was asked about the U.S. Department of Education's Office for Civil Rights pulling a $9.7 million JCPS grant over civil rights violations. Yearwood says the money was aimed at giving more students access to high-quality magnet school options in Louisville. But the U.S. Education Office for Civil Rights says JCPS was unlawfully considering race and discriminating based on the racial makeup of its schools.
What was different this time was OCR's unwillingness to work together at a fair solution through conversation and discussion. It was this way or the highway. There was no chance for discussion, explanation, clarifications.
Yearwood says other school districts in the country are losing grants based on the same reasoning. This comes at a time when JCPS is already making major cuts due to that looming budget deficit. Brand new and first tonight on the WHAS11 night team. New life for an important home built in 1840 in historic Madison, Indiana on the Ohio River. We are there showing you its connection to the city's African-American history. The story is on the way next. And then, holding people downtown a little longer, trying to bring downtown back. The Downtown Happy Hour on the Plaza at a downtown skyscraper.
And after yesterday's flooding rains, we dried things out today with seasonally cool temperatures. Started off in the 50s and topped out in the lower 70s. We're tracking even cooler weather on the way Thursday into Thursday night. Your 7-day forecast coming up after the break. Today's Kentucky Lottery jackpots: Mega Millions $575 million, Powerball $223 million.
The Kentucky Lottery, funding education for over 1 million Kentucky students.